Mozilla has a mission to serve the user above all their agendas, to advance the state of the web and keep it open and interoperable and improving. To the extent that the web was being handicapped against these native application platforms on the popular smartphones, we saw the web being threatened. We saw it going into what some called a decline or losing compared to the native stacks. And we, again, saw no technical reason why this should be so we wanted to improve the web and demonstrate that it could be better and standardize as we go and see the improvements show up in other operating systems and browsers.
Everything can be executed on the web. So I think this is really a correct path to work on.
We have to be the force that is fighting on behalf of people. And to do that, we need to build amazing software that's true to our principles.
The idea to start Firefox OS goes all the way back to Firefox 4. So we sent various representatives from engineering to different countries where Firefox OS is being used to launch event parties. Really the birth moment of Firefox OS as a project at Mozilla was in Taipei. From there on, we started having a number of discussions. We had a couple of discussions with Brendan and with Mike Shaver, and both of them very quickly joined us in this effort to start it off the Mozilla way by being open from day one.
It started with an empty GitHub repository. I don't think Andreas even knew how much it would blow up.
We realized that this is something that needed to be communicated properly.
The community in general was really excited about Firefox OS. The response was incredible.
Things were quiet, it was a nice morning, and all of a sudden things exploded. We had hundreds of press requests, thousands of articles, went into firefighting mode. It was pretty exciting.
I think one of the most interesting turning points for the Firefox OS journey was the GSMA had a board meeting, and I got a call about 3 days before and said, we want you to come and present to us. And it was the senior executives or CEOs from 20 different operators. The meeting was in Rio, and about halfway down on the flight, it just hit me. I said, this is pretty much a seminal moment. If we impress upon them that we're real and this is meaningful and we have momentum, I think we can get the buy-in of these 20 people in one meeting. The whole room was excited. A half-hour presentation turned into an hour-and-a-half discussion. And I think the rest of it is...
going all over the world for these work weeks. These top secret places where the engineers would go off and they would play.
And it's the week before MWC 2012. And we're flying into Europe, and I'm like, wow, Europe for the first time. I can't wait to see Paris. This is so magical. I've never seen this stuff before. And we pull into the Holiday Inn. And I think I left the Holiday Inn once in 7 days.
What the reality was you would get on a plane and you'd fly to some place that sounded fairly exotic. You'd get off the plane and you'd go to the hotel, and then you would start writing code.
What it was 20-hour days knocking this out.
I'm basically the designated attendee of all the work weeks from Taipei, and jet lag is the problem.
We made the home screen on a Friday. I left the home screen for last. It's kind of like the cover of the book. You design that once you know everything else. You kind of put the cover on it. You design the cover.
We went to Mobile World Congress 2012 with a message and a promise for the future. The message was, the web is the platform, and the promise was that Mozilla would make that real. That we would build a product that could bring the web to life on mobile. And people were excited.
We were in a room at one point with Brendan Ike and Chris Beard talking about if we're even going to have the Beta G demo on the booth. At the very last minute, we installed a demo space. On the opening day of the show, we were on the front page of the show daily. Our little demo in the corner of the booth ended up being the star of the show.
The code was supposed to be ready by the end of September 2012.
The crazy part wasn't MWC 2012, that was crazy, but the crazy part was the year. That was like the starting gun of the race. And since then, it's just been a full-blown blast of energy and effort, building a plane in flight, getting a team put together, and actually creating a full-blown mobile operating system in a year.
July, August, September 2012. We landed tons of code on the front-end side, on the platform side. Some of us have canceled their vacation just to work on this project and make it happen. At the end of September, the code was frozen. We started to do tons of meetings all together with partners to determine what needs to land.
It was amazing. The engineering crew at Mozilla are just the most phenomenal, dedicated engineers that you could want to work with. They move mountains.
It's a very great opportunity to work with engineers from other countries. Different people have different accents, have different thoughts, have different creativities.
Honestly, it's kind of like a blur. There's no easy narrative to that particular year. It was just a really long march. with a lot of talking, a lot of specs, a lot of bugs, leading up to December and leading up to really to Berlin.
So when we arrived in Berlin, we had something like 200 or so outstanding bugs, almost evenly distributed between the front-end team and the platform team. So what we decided is we put a big projector in the middle of the room, and we did a little competition. On the left side was the front-end team, and the right side was the platform team.
This work week was hosted by Deutsche Telekom. The Telefonica, they joined as well. They're kind of competitors, but they work together in order to improve Firefox OS.
I was lucky enough to be the last one to close a bug on Gaia, which is lucky and unlucky at the same time, because when I pushed the code to the main repository, I had 4 persons behind me. There is all the managers and everybody looking at him around like, what's going on? How are you going to finish it?
Anthony had Andreas and Farmars and a couple other guys doing review over his shoulder while he typed in the last patch to get that last bug knocked down.
So that was a bit stressful.
And that got us to 0 bugs.
0 bugs!
I'm here at Mobile World Congress.
In 2012, we came to Mobile World Congress with Boot to Gecko and a promise. In 2013, we came with Firefox OS and the assurance that we can bring the mission of Mozilla into the mobile environment.
When the teams come back here to finance saying that how much space we need, how much money we will spend, the first time I looked at it, I was like, are we serious spending this much money?
We were definitely the stars of the show.
We had the biggest booth in Hall 8.1.
People would come by from all over. We were definitely the hottest thing.
It was worth every single penny.
Every day when people would come into the break room, they would say, look, we've made the cover again.
The night before the show, we had a press conference. And the press conference, we were expecting about 250 people. And it ended up that we had over 700 press, media, and analysts show up.
They had 18 CEOs on stage. We had 80,000 press results on Google News. We were trending on Twitter with the Oscars, which was pretty cool. It was like a PR dream.
I love to give demos of everything we're doing and show it off. And man, we were running right down to the wire. There was probably 2 hours or an hour till showtime.
Something a lot of people didn't expect with all the game physics it has and different things.
Cool, that would work really great in HTML5. This is called Cut the Rope.
People were very impressed. It was the most exciting thing I've ever participated in.
If I was walking around the hall and I had my Firefox shirt on, people would come up to me.
It was amazing. It was totally overwhelming. It was very different from the rest, this hybrid group of both volunteers and paid staff. And we definitely would not have made the impression that we did.
I mean, people were blown away, but it was still not delivered. It was just a promise. And now this summer, actually shipping these things, you know, to deliver on what you said you were going to deliver, that's awesome. And that's what Mozilla is all about.
Following Mobile World Congress, we came back. There were still bugs and bugs being filed, code getting checked in.
Deciding with partners what should absolutely be fixed for the P1 release.
Then at some point, the carriers send the build to what's called IoT, certification testing, which is really important because there are certain things that have to happen with devices where they're certified. After the IoT period is complete, the OEM takes a build and then they run with it.
Yeah, it's been a ride, isn't it? Here we are. This is the second country. Just launched in Poland. And we've got an entire staff dressed in Firefox OS colors. It's great.
The community really drove this. Mozillians all over the world, they took the leadership role in making these events happen and making them locally relevant.
Our volunteers helped make it all possible.
I'm always amazed by the commitment of our Mozillians.
No single person or set of people makes Mozilla what it is. It's all of us.
Releasing a mobile phone, it's not a one-man effort. It's not a one organization effort. It's multiple companies and organizations coming together with their different skill sets. And we did it. Here we are at launch. We pulled it off.
2 years ago, this was a dream. So it's great to actually see it come to fruition with everyone's help.
This first launch of Firefox OS devices is just the beginning. We need to move from shipping something, which is amazing, to scaling it. How do we ship devices all over the world in volume to really change people's lives? And how do we differentiate? At the end of the day, people have to love this stuff, and they want to love Firefox phones. So we've just begun.
And first, I want to say to everyone involved, that's all of us, from mailing list to phones in stores. Under 3 years. Unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. So first off, I give a hand to everyone.